Good day, everybody. This is Ryan.
And this is Kyle.
And what you're listening to today is
The Doctor's Watcher, the Dustman's podcast about every episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah, so as an American, I picture a dustman just like with this giant bag slung over his shoulder, and like he's dusty and the bag's really dusty. And like basically the bag is just filled with dust. Like a vacuum bag or something.
Right. Yeah, like if you bump into the bag, then there's just going to be like a big puff.
Right, like pretty much he always has like a dust cloud. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Cool. I'm sure that's what it is. Nice. Well, how are you doing today, Kyle?
I'm doing all right. I actually mentioned Dustmen because we recently got an email from our London correspondent, Gordon. So thank you, Gordon, for that email. You may recall I believe in our Series 4 wrap-up episode, we were discussing some British terms and what their etymology may be, which was basically we don't know. And Gordon has given us some information on some of that, so I wanted to share that with the listeners. He said that these are the words that his parents told him not to say. And basically, they were ways of kind of, swearing to the truth of something while at the same time trying not to be too blasphemous about it. So bloody, Gordon says, is an abbreviation of By Our Lady, which of course is referring to the Virgin Mary.
Yeah, interesting.
These days, it's not really used so much as like swearing to the truth of something as it is, as Gordon puts it, a milder adjective expressing annoyance, as in, "You've broken the bloody TARDIS, Doctor."
Yep, good example. Okay, that makes sense.
And core blimey, gore blimey, or just blimey is an abbreviation of "May God blind me," like if I'm not telling the truth.
So I had no idea that like core belonged to that whole phrase.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just say that, right?
I think so, yeah. I feel like I've heard that just on its own sometimes.
Interesting.
And yeah, Gordon says again, like nowadays it's kind of more just an exclamation of surprise, as in, "Blimey, Doctor, you've changed your appearance since episode 1.
Nice. Again, excellent example.
And yeah, this email from Gordon also had well, before we get to that, actually, I will also mention Zounds, which I think you mentioned, Ryan, in the episode that you thought it came from God's wounds.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, Gordon agrees with that. It's, of course, referring to the wounds that Jesus received in the crucifixion. But he says it's not really used much at all these days. He's only mostly come across it in like 16th and 17th century plays, like in Shakespeare, basically.
Right. I think that's where I probably heard it too.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And yeah, I'd say like of the three, that one's probably the most blasphemous.
Yeah, I think that seems right. From what I understand of blasphemy, yeah.
Right.
So this email from Gordon also had a little bit of a challenge in it, because he pointed out that the phrase "gore blimey" or "core blimey" was made prominent in a comic song by Lonnie Donegan, which hit number 1 in the UK song charts in 1960s. And he says most Brits, even now, especially Londoners, know the chorus to My Old Man's a Dustman. And Gordon said that he thinks that the listeners of our podcast would love to hear me give it a try. So I watched a couple of videos of Lonnie Donegan, and I looked up the lyrics and thought I might give it a try. So it goes something like this. And now, here's a little story. To tell it is a must. About an unsung hero that moves away your dust. Some people make a fortune, others earn a mint. My old man don't earn much, in fact he's flippin' skint. Oh, my old man's a dustman, he wears a dustman's hat. He wears blimey trousers, and he lives in a council flat. He looks a proper nana in his great big hobnail boots. He's got such a job to pull them up that he calls them daisy roots. Some folks give tips at Christmas, and some of them forget. So when he picks their bins up, he spills some on the step. Now one old man got nasty, and to the council wrote, next time my old man went round there, he punched him in the throat. Oh, my old man's a dustman, he wears a dustman's hat. He wears blimey trousers, and he lives in a council flat. Though my old man's a dustman, he's got an heart of gold. He got married recently, though he's 86 years old. We said, here, hang on, Dad, you're getting past your prime. He said, well, when you get to my age, it helps to pass the time. Oh, my old man's a dustman, he wears a dustman's hat. He wears blimey trousers, and he lives in a council flat. Now one day in a hurry, he missed a lady's bin. He hadn't gone but a few yards when she chased after him. What game do you think you're playing? She cried right from the yacht. You've missed me, am I too late? Now jump up on the cart. Oh, my old man's a dustman, he wears a dustman's hat. He wears blimey trousers, and he lives in a council flat. He found a tiger's head one day nailed to a piece of wood. The tiger looked like miserable, but I suppose he should. Just then from out a window a voice began to wail. It said, oi, where's me tiger head? 4 feet from his tail. Oh, my old man's a dustman, he wears a dustman's hat. He wears blimey trousers, and he lives in a council flat. Next time you see a dustman looking all pale and sad, don't kick him in the dustbin, it might be my old dad.
Awesome.
Nice.
That is a great song.
Uh-huh.
Sounds like quite the experience to be a dustman.
Yeah, definitely. So thanks, Gordon, for that. That was a fun challenge. Gordon also provided a quick glossary. Dustman is a garbage man. Blimey trousers are apparently pants tied at the knee with string.
Oh, huh.
A council flat is like, kind of a cheap apartment in the projects, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Narner is banana, so it's like he's a doofus or he's a twit.
Okay.
And Daisy Roots is Cockney rhyming slang for boots.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, like usually I don't get Cockney rhyming slang because it's just like, what does the word copter rhyme with? I don't know. I don't even know if that is one. Just making up some random word that you're just like, I don't know where that comes from. But like the Daisy Roots did make sense because they were hard to pull up.
Yeah, totally.
Boots were so big.
Although,
that was a good one.
Knowing how Cockney rhyming slang works, I wouldn't be surprised if they started calling boots just daisies.
Yeah, right. Like it's an extra step that you don't know. It's like daisies. What's that even mean? Like, are you talking flowers or, I don't know. Yeah. Well, excellent. Yes. We always appreciate your correspondence, Gordon. And, the rest of you listeners just think like, what other podcast do you listen to that has a London correspondent? Probably none.
Yeah, seriously.
Losers.
What about you? How have you been doing?
Good. You know, kind of been keeping a low profile a bit since the vacation. So, been reading. As I know, Kyle, the Dungeon Crawler Carl series released a new book just recently. So that's been awesome. Good stuff. No spoilers for anyone, but highly recommend. And I read another book in between while I was waiting for that book to come out. And holy shit, it was like I didn't know what I was in for.
Nice.
Yeah, this book it was very, very good. It's called Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. And when I looked it up later on Wikipedia, apparently, like, it's so good that some people say it's basically the great American novel.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, would I say that? I don't know, maybe. But yeah, basically for the most part, it follows this character called the Kid, who I think he was born in like Nebraska or Kansas or something like that. And he like runs away at 14 and kind of just becomes like swallowed up by the Southwest United States area, but it's Mexico at the time.
Oh, sure.
He kind of like goes around and like this kid was basically born, like they don't really tell you about his childhood or whatever, but they do mention, or the narrator kind of mentions, like this kid is born with like a taste of random violence in his heart. And so like yeah, like after he runs away, he just like starts getting in all these fights and stuff. And this group of kind of ruffians notices him. They're like, "Oh, he killed that bartender guy. Cool, we like this 14-year-old." And so they like join him, take him on in their group basically, and their group's main purpose is to like go throughout Mexico and kind of like destabilize the region and make make the whole region like so crappy and like so bloody and so dangerous that the Mexican government will be more likely to ally with the U.S. government.
Okay.
Like when the time comes or whatever. And this is like a real thing that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of the names of the people in this group like were real people. I don't think he's saying like they did this stuff, but like it's stuff that maybe they could have done or would have done.
Right.
So like he is going around these Mexican territories with this group of like murderers pretty much. They get this, like there's all sorts of crazy shit that happens, but like for example, they get this commission from the Mexican capital saying like, we've been having all this trouble with these Apache Indians. Their words, not mine, but it was the 1800s or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, yeah, we want you to go like take care of these Indians who keep like harassing our people and bring us their scalps. And for each scalp, you'll get X amount of pesos.
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, okay, cool. We will do that. So they, go pretty much on this like wild rampage of like just slaughtering people. Most of them were Apaches, but then they came across this like Mexican town and they're like, you know what? Their scalps look pretty close too. So they just like slaughter them. Like,
right.
It's just really, really fucked up. Like, I have a hard time recommending the book because of how like bleak it is, but it was so well crafted. Like the voice it's written in is this like really consistent kind of like Western sounding voice. Like it sounds like the cowboy from The Big Lebowski maybe is kind of like telling you this story.
Nice.
And yeah, and like some of the parallels it draws, and like the end of the book was really good, and just the way that Cormac McCarthy writes is like a lot of times he will just default to showing instead of telling you like so and so is thinking this and that or whatever, and you have to just kind of like sometimes it's a little bit of a challenge to like figure out why did he say that. But then like the more, it's one of those books where it's so well crafted, like the more you think about it, you're like, well, because this and this happened, and like of course he would say that from this conversation from like 2 chapters ago or whatever, like that it like builds the characters out that way, and that's cool. Really cool. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I guess kind of recommend it because it was really, really good literature, but kind of don't recommend it because it's like really, really bleak and dark, and like the land itself kind of becomes one of the characters too, which is always kind of fun.
That's cool. Yeah.
Or sort of more so, they become the land, actually. Like they fade into this desert where just everything is like life and death, bloodthirsty battles, and they're just part of that. Like they're just natural fixtures of this desert, kind of.
Right. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah. So, that was a very interesting read. I actually kind of read most of that while I was on vacation, and that was quite the contrast with like the garish, multicolored, lit up, EDM festival in Vegas versus like this bloody, like dark desert story.
Nice.
But it was kind of cool because I was thinking like, they're like some of the places this story takes place probably isn't that far from here in Las Vegas.
Yeah, totally. And like Vegas probably used to be a lot more like that than like the garish, brightly colored and lit place it is now.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I've been, excuse me, I've been meaning to look more into this because I was thinking like, yeah, what actually is the history of Vegas like before like the mobsters got it. I mean, that history is super interesting too. Like,
yeah, totally.
When the mob just owned it for like a while. But like what happened before that? Like, was it kind of like a crossroads type city, or like how did they get there? And like what was the situation before, like, the roads and the buffalo hunters and yada yada and whatever all came through there and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's
cool.
good stuff.
Yeah, I'll have to add that to my list. I read The Road like a long time ago, so I don't really remember it that well, but it was really interesting too. Definitely also very bleak.
Right. Yeah, the movie was good of that too. But yeah, I think that was my first Cormac McCarthy exposure was The Road.
That
I can't
makes
remember
sense,
if I read it or not, but I've definitely seen the movie. But yeah, it was good. I'm glad I read it, but I don't know if I will again.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I've got a quick joke for us before we move into the episode.
Nice. Let's hear it.
So a woman says to her fiance, "Have you picked a date for our wedding?" The fiance says, "I assumed I would be going with you."
Nice. I guess it might be a valid question, like if they were a polyamorous couple.
Right. Wow, that'd be something else to like each bring dates to your wedding. Like, just sit here, honey. I got to go get married to that person. I'll be right back.
Well, cool. Shall we check in on how Klieg's date with the Cyberdick controller is going?
Yeah, sounds like he's probably not doing too well because now he's got a gun and he is seemingly firing at the doctor.
Indeed. That is, in fact, the Cliffdangler. He fires his cyber gun, and the resolution of the Cliffdangler is that he shot one of the NPCs in the shoulder, so he's injured, but he'll probably be fine.
Klieg, damn it, you suck at this.
You've killed him, you murderer.
No, he's fortunate I spared him.
You mean you missed him?
Nice.
Klieg somehow still thinks that he can bargain and negotiate with the Cybermen, and that it will be on his terms this time somehow.
Come on,
So,
man.
He opens the hatch and he just like shouts into it.
I wish to speak to the controller. I wish to speak to the controller.
The Cybermen inside the hatch hear him, but they don't really seem to give a shit. They are working on preparing Toberman, and it seems like they've basically finished preparing him. He sits up on a bed and he's staring blankly into nothing, and one of his arms has been replaced with a cyber arm, although the rest of his body still looks basically human.
So, does this cyber arm look like they're plungers, or like, is it just like a shiny looking human arm, or like what's the vibe there?
It's more like a Mega Man arm.
Okay. So like metal, jointed metal kind of thing.
Yeah. So Toberman, seems to be basically converted to cyber version as much as they're going to convert him for now. And the controller tells the rest of the Cybermen that they need to conserve energy. So they all climb back into their cells or tombs or whatever in, the kind of big beehive structure on the wall. And based on the way that they move as they enter their cells and the way that the sort of saran wrap like membrane kind of closes over their hands and over them as they enter the cells, I'm like 99% sure that this is actually the exact same shot that we saw a few episodes ago of them coming out of their cells, but just played in reverse.
Nice.
Up in the control room, the cyberdick controller comes out of the hatch. I guess it did decide to come talk to Klieg or whatever. And it has Toberman in tow with it. Klieg tells it that he knows it needs to be revitalized if it wants to survive. I guess all the cyber batteries are getting low. So if it agrees to his plans of world conquest, he will allow it to survive. At Kaftan's urging, he also tells it that it has to release Toberman. So it turns towards Toberman, and some wavy lines appear on the screen between its forehead and Toberman's forehead. And then Toberman turns and climbs out of the hatch and just kind of goes and stands in the center of the room. Still, like, very obviously under cyber control. But Kaftan's just like,
Toberman, it is good that you are back.
The controller says that it agrees to Klieg's terms. So Klieg's like, all right, cool. Go ahead and go to the revitalization room. And Jamie and the doctor and some of the NPCs all follow it, basically to keep an eye on it and like make sure that it's just going to the revitalization room and not, trying to do something else. But Klieg keeps Victoria with him as his hostage back in the control room. He tells Toberman to close the hatch, but Toberman just stands there in the center of the room, staring blankly into nothing. So Captain goes and pulls the lever to close the hatch. In the revitalization room, the cyberdick controller seems like he doesn't have enough energy to climb into the recess on the wall that Victoria had gotten stuck in. So the doctor offers to help it. Jamie and the NPC are both like, WTF? But the doctor's like, just go with it. And they all kind of help the controller get into the recess. And the doctor operates the control panel. He gets the lid or door or whatever of the recess closed on the cyber controller, and he gets the weird satellite dish-like energy projectors moving up and down. And then he turns to Jamie and the NPC, and he's like,
Now then, where would you rather have him? In or out of there? Oh, I see what you mean. Only we must make sure that he stays in there.
So they got the dick into the hole. They just need to make sure the dick stays in there.
uh-huh.
This really is an educational show.
Yeah, totally. Back in the control room, Victoria starts asking Klieg if he really thinks that the Cybermen will bargain with him, and like, what about the other weapon? And he's like, what other weapon? And she says that she's pretty sure that she saw a cyber gun or something in the other room. So he and Captain start getting paranoid because now they think that any of the other humans might have a cyber gun now. You know, haha, Merry Christmas, motherfuckers, I have a cyber gun. It's been a long time since I've seen Die Hard. I don't quite remember the quote, but
Yeah, I think that was it.
So Captain and Klieg decide that probably they should just like hole up in the control room and be ready, I guess, in case they get attacked or whatever. But as they sit at the table that has the Cybermen logo printed on the surface, Klieg notices that Toberman is just kind of like staring at him, and Klieg's not really comfortable with that. We cut back over to the revitalization room where Jamie has gotten some rope and tied the lid down to the revitalization recess chamber. And so the cyber controller is theoretically trapped in it now.
He's going to be so revitalized.
Uh-huh. The recess is starting to smoke, and they're getting a bit worried that maybe it's overheating, but then the power transfer machine like automatically shuts off. The doctor comments to Jamie that he hopes the ropes are secure, and Jamie's like,
Oh, the king of the beasts himself couldn't get out of that one.
Awesome. I don't even know what that means.
And just then, the cyber controller bursts through the lid of the revitalization chamber, which has this panel in the middle of the lid that kind of seems to be made out of drywall covered in tinfoil.
Damn it. You got too revitalized. I told you guys.
Yeah, so he just bursts right through.
Jamie, remind me to give you a lesson in tying knots sometime.
We see the wavy lines coming out of the controller's face and forehead, the same ones that we saw earlier, and the camera cuts to Toberman, but the wavy lines don't change from one shot to the next, like they persist, except like now they're going into Toberman's head instead of coming out of the Cyberman's head.
Cool.
Klieg tells Toberman to watch the door, and then he goes and sits down, and Toberman comes over to Klieg and he raises his cyber arm, and the viewers are all like, oh, cool, he's about to fire his cool new Mega Man arm weapon. But it turns out that the main function of the cyber arm is basically just as a club. So he just like raises his arm and brings it down and hits Klieg, who falls to the ground, like probably dead. We don't really know.
Nice.
The controller tells Kaftan to open the hatch, and she's like, fuck you, you broke your promise. And it says,
Cybermen do not promise that. Such ideas have no value.
She, of course, still refuses to open the hatch, so it goes and pulls the lever itself. And when it turns toward the now open hatch, Kaftan pulls the lever again to close the hatch, and she pulls a gun out of her purse. So then when the cyber controller like turns back toward her to go pull the lever open again, she shoots it.
Nice.
But it's just like,
That gun will not harm me.
and it shoots her. And then like a bunch of smoke starts coming out of the collar of her shirt. And she falls to the ground, and we assume that she's probably also dead.
Dang.
You idiot. You brought a normal gun to a cyber gun fight.
Yeah, totally. Hi, folks. A lot of podcasts are supported by advertising, but not the Doctor's Watcher. A lot of podcasts are also supported by the listeners. That is true of the Doctor's Watcher emotionally. Financially, however, we ask nothing of you. All we ask is that you tell your friends about this great show that you listen to, and go give us a high rating and a nice review on the podcast rating and review platform of your choice. In return, we will continue to give you this lovely podcast. What else are you going to listen to while you do the dishes? And now, back to the show. The Doctor goes over to Toberman and starts saying something about how, like, you know, you're human like us, you're not like the Cybermen, they killed Kaftan, who I guess Doctor's assuming that Toberman like had feelings for or whatever in a weird colonialist way. But, you know, they killed Kaftan, you're not like them, you're human, etc., etc. And I guess he rolled like really well on his persuasion check, because somehow just like talking to Toberman for a minute is enough to get Toberman to go hit the cyber controller with his cyber arm club.
Nice.
And then Toberman picks up the cyber controller and holds it over his head and suplexes it into the control panel.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Uh-huh. The Cyberdick controller makes some vocoder groaning noises and seems to die, probably. By this point, though, there are a couple more Cybermen coming out of the hatch, so Jamie shoots them with the cyber gun, which actually is effective on them. And he wants to go close the hatch, but the Doctor says that they need to actually go back down and make sure everything is like fully and properly dealt with down there. So he tells Jamie to stay up top with Victoria, and he asks Toberman to come with him. And, you know, he's explaining about how the Cybermen wanted to use him and make him their slave. And somehow this is different and worse than how Kaftan and Klieg wanted to use him and make him their slave.
Right.
So he does go down the hatch with the Doctor with the intention of destroying the Cybermen. And meanwhile, we see that Klieg is not actually dead. And he has now regained consciousness, and no one's paying attention to him. So he sneakily grabs an abandoned cybergun that's just laying around and heads down the hatch himself after Toberman and the Doctor.
Oh, snap.
So the Doctor is at a control panel. He's pulling the levers that will refreeze the Cybermen. Of course, the Cybermen have already gone back into their cells, but they're just like resting. They're not frozen. Just because the controller like told them to conserve energy. So the Doctor starts pulling the levers that will refreeze them, but then Klieg shows up and pulls the levers to reverse the freezing process. And he says that now that the controller is dead, he'll be their controller.
You see, Doctor, yours is the privilege to witness for the first time the union between mass power and my absolute intelligence.
The Doctor is just like, oh man, like, yeah, you're probably right. Like that sounds totally right. And Klieg's like, yeah, too bad you didn't say that earlier, or you maybe could have worked for me. And the Doctor's like,
Oh, Jamie, don't you see? Don't you see what this is going to mean to all the people who come to serve Klieg, the all-powerful? Why, no country, no person would dare to have a single thought that was not your own, Eric Klieg's own conception of the way of life.
Brilliant. Yes. Yes, you're right. Master of the world.
Well, now I know you're mad. I just wanted to make sure.
Nice.
So Klieg starts telling Jamie and the Doctor that they're weak, but instead of just killing them, he's going to leave them for the Cybermen. He figures, the Cybermen probably have a use for them, or at least for parts of them.
Right.
But then a Cyberman grabs Klieg and takes him off screen, where we hear it hit him a few times and he screams and then he's silent.
Very ominous.
Toberman goes to attack the Cyberman, and while he fights it, the Doctor gets Jamie to help him at the control panel, because apparently there are two levers that need to be pulled at the same time or whatever. So they pull the levers. Meanwhile, Toberman manages to get the Cyberman that attacked him onto the ground, where he breaks open the, sort of device or control unit or whatever mounted on the Cyberman's chest, and a bunch of foam comes out of this chest unit, and the Cyberman seems like it's dead.
Well, they can't survive losing their cyber foam.
Yeah, totally.
Weird, but cool.
The Doctor's like,
Last time, they were frozen for 5 centuries. This time it must be forever.
And he and Jamie watch as the clip from episode 2 of them breaking through their saran wrap membranes like earlier gets played in reverse. And the saran wrap membranes reform as they pull their hands into the chambers. And then the frost all reforms over all the chambers. So
Yay.
I guess he and Jamie pulled the right levers.
That's good.
They come back out into the main chamber and they close the hatch. As Jamie descends the steps from the hatch, he kind of trips a little bit in a way that I'm pretty sure was not scripted. Like, it legitimately looked like he just took a misstep, and like that's just the take they used.
Okay.
If they even had another take.
Right.
So the Doctor rewires the control panel to re-electrify the main entrance door, but also to electrify the hatch and the control panel itself. So he gets everyone to leave the area first, all, go outside again, except for Jamie, who helps to, stays to help him with the wiring and stuff. But when everyone else is outside, the Cyberdick controller gets up from the ground. I guess it's not actually dead.
Oh.
The Doctor's like,
Jimmy, you go that way, I'll go this way. That way one of us will have a chance. When I say run, run.
And they both manage to evade the Cyberdick and get outside.
Nice.
Uh-huh. They push the doors like most of the way closed, but the Doctor stops them before they're fully closed, because that's when they'll get, when the doors will get electrified. So, he and Jamie can't be touching the doors when they get fully closed. So Jamie goes and grabs like a couple of wooden planks, 2x4s basically off the ground, and he and the Doctor use these to try to push the doors closed with, but the Cyberdick controller is on the other side of the doors trying to push them open, and, of course, it's pretty strong. It's saying,
"We must survive. We must survive."
And, Jamie and the Doctor are kind of struggling against it, but Toberman sees this and he comes up to the doors and just kind of like grabs Jamie and the Doctor's 2x4s and like throws them to the side and starts pushing the doors shut himself. And he's apparently stronger than the Cyberdick controller, because he does manage to get the doors fully closed. And of course, the Cyberdick controller, who's pushing against the doors from the other side, gets electrocuted when this happens, but so does Toberman. The expedition leader is basically just like, well, that sucks. There's another dead dude from this fucking expedition. But luckily, the Americans have finished fixing the rocket, so the surviving NPCs are going to be able to leave. So our adventuring party says their goodbyes to the NPC adventuring party, and the two adventuring parties head their separate ways.
Now that really is the end of the Cybermen, isn't it? Yes, Jimmy. On the other hand, I never like to make predictions. Come along.
Awesome.
Uh-huh. And then the final two shots of the episode are that first we get a shot of a Cybermat that apparently escaped out of the tombs and is just kind of rolling along in the dirt of the planet now. And then our final shot starts on Toberman's dead body, and the camera pans up to the Cyberman design printed on these electrified doors. And with that, the music plays and the credits roll.
Well, that's pretty cool. That was a good one.
Yeah, totally.
Like, who would have thought that, Cybermen like part of their reproductive cycle is metal slugs, I guess, like cyber slugs. Weird, but awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of too bad that we didn't really get to see what the cyber slugs did to Toberman. We just saw them like put the slugs near him, and then we see like the result later. But I bet the process is pretty interesting.
Yeah, right. Like, are they crawling all over him, or sticking tendrils into his brain, or like, how does it work?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, cool. Well, that was a very fun serial. Anything else we should know about this particular episode?
I didn't have more notes on the episode specifically.
And what about the serial itself?
Yeah, I was thinking about whether I would recommend this serial to anyone who might want to watch it, and I think I probably would. I thought this was a pretty fun serial. It's obviously the first serial of season 5, and it's basically Victoria's like first real doctor adventure, or like her first outing. Maybe you could count the last serial of season 4, but that was kind of like, she got kidnapped and it was all imposed on her. This is the first time that she's like a full member of the party.
That makes sense. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Yep, her first outing basically, and she's already, blasting away with guns.
Totally.
So she fits right in, I'd say.
And of course, this serial is available for real, not animated, actual film for free on YouTube. And it's only 4 episodes. It was pretty well paced, and it doesn't go on for too long. So yeah, I think with all of that, I would definitely recommend it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very good point. Like, I'd say, like, this is maybe one of the more succinct serials, I guess, so far. They all seem like much longer and like a bit more sprawling, but this one was just nice and encapsulated, and like didn't really waste a lot of time.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Doddering around or whatever. Yeah.
even with like a lot of the plot points being that someone pulls a lever and then someone else pulls it again. Like,
yeah, right.
It still was like pretty well paced and pretty fun and moves.
Right. Which, like, when you put it that way, it's almost like a kid was like, the bad guy pulls a lever to open the door, but the good guy pulls it back. But then the bad guy pushes it back again. Well, nice. Yeah, first serial of season 5 down, and I gotta say that was a good one.
Nice. Yeah, me too.
I'd probably go like, I don't know, 8 out of 10. It's got the Cybermen, it's got, kind of cultish type people, behaving unreasonably as they usually do. Yeah, Virginia's debut, etc. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Victoria.
That's not the first time I've made that mistake, I'm pretty sure.
Well, cool. Before we get into our outro, basically, I did have a little bit of a personal update that I wanted to share with our listeners. I did want to let all the listeners know that my cat, Matilda, our frequent guest host and more recently promoted to producer, is no longer with us. She actually died 3 weeks ago today as we record this episode. In fact, we were originally scheduled to record this episode on that day, but that was not going to happen. Yeah, she was 18. She had a good life. basically spent her entire life with myself and my partner, and I love her and I miss her. And yeah, our co-host emeritus, Benny, actually recorded a brief message in tribute to her, so I wanted to go ahead and play that for you.
Hello there. This is Benny, former co-host. It's been a while, but I wanted to share some thoughts on the passing of our beloved guest host, Matilda. As listeners know, Matilda would frequently join our episodes to share her thoughts, and her opinions were always correct. And as listeners might not know, since this is a podcast and therefore an audio format, Matilda was the fluffiest, most beautiful calico cat I've ever seen in my life. Most importantly, she loved Kyle, and Kyle loved her, and he gave her the best life a kitty cat could ask for. We will always remember her with fondness and love, and she'll always be a part of the Doctor's Watcher and our hearts. I'd just like to end by saying that I've been keeping up with the Doctor's Watcher, and I gotta say, Ryan is doing an awesome job as co-host, as I knew he would. Keep up the good work, lads, and keep bringing us the technology, ships, and aliens we tune in for. Love to you both. Bye.
Aw. What a sweetheart.
Yeah.
But yeah. Matilda really was, the fluffiest, prettiest kitty cat. She and I got to pal around quite some time ago now, but I spent a few weeks out hanging out with you and your partner and the cats. I think even Gandalf, the cat, was still around back then.
Yeah, I think he would have been around then. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been quite some time, but I kind of remember Matilda being a little standoffish at first, but then she warmed up to me. And so we've definitely been considered her a friend ever since. And yeah, she was a great podcast producer, but an even better friend. So yeah, she will remain forever in our hearts.
Indeed. And yeah, I will probably remember to post some pictures of her on our Blue Sky when this episode comes out, so listeners can go see that.
Good idea. Cool. All right. Well, just want to say thanks to our listeners. Thanks for enjoying this serial with us, and we hope that I hope that you're as excited as I am to come back in 2 weeks and find out what happens next to the Doctor and Jamie.
Yeah, we didn't
Victoria.
even really get a cliffhanger, so we have no idea.
Yeah, right. I guess kind of the fact that there's still a cyber map, but I doubt that'll ever be followed up on. Because as we know, the Cybermen are completely done forever.
Right, yeah, like Jamie just said that.
Right, and although the Doctor doesn't like to make predictions, he did agree.
He did agree.
So, that's that.
Indeed. No more Cybermen, no more Daleks, who knows what's going to happen.
I know, it's almost like there's nothing dangerous left in the universe anymore. What are they going to do? Next serial. We're going to have to pull something out of their ass.
Well, if you would like to find out what comes out of their ass, then you have 2 weeks to leave some 5-star ratings and reviews and tell all your friends before you tune back in.
Right, thank you. I knew I wasn't the only one curious about all the stuff that comes out of people's ass. All right, well, on that note, bye.
Bye.
Well, the fuel system's okay. We can blast off any time.
All right.
Hey, what gives? Well, where is everybody?
Down there. And so are Klieg and the Cybermen.
Well, I hope they know what they're doing. I've been down there once, and I don't reckon to go again.
That's all right, Captain. It's comforting to know that we have your superior strength to call on, should we need it.